sometimes we tend to like glamorize being self-made, especially if you're in the Latino community, especially if you're a first gen Latina. We like to take pride in figuring things out on our own or doing it on our own. But sometimes some things require a team, especially with real estate. And that's what we're going to talk about today of how to build your real estate dream team. Who do you look for? How do you find them? And, how do you build those relationships and how do they work to help you throughout your real estate investing journey? Welcome to Real Estate Jefas. I am Violeta.
And I am Lindsay. And joining us today to share her tips on how to find those team members is our first guest, Sammie Perez, a Latina, Florida based real estate investor. Hi, Sammie. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you ladies doing today?
We're doing great. We're so excited to have you.
Yeah, my name is Sammy, born and raised in New York City, but recently moved to Orlando, Florida. And I have been doing or dabbling in real estate for a number of years now in many different ways using different strategies. And I'd be the first to say that I was the one who was guilty of saying, for real estate, I'm doing everything on my own and I'm going to scale this way. And like, no, I like, it's just going to be me. And I'm just going to be beating my chest and being prideful in going that direction. And wrong, very, very, very wrong. And so, talking a bit about teams being the topic for today, is something that now I've completely shifted my mindset on, and rely on my teams in a very large way in order to, especially when it comes to scaling. But before that, I have lots of experience with Airbnb. That's kind of how I got my first foot in the door with real estate. I started with corporate leasing, then purchased properties, put on Airbnb, and I did that for a number of years. I grew a successful portfolio with that, and then people started reaching out to me and asked me, "Hey Sam, I want to do what you do. Can you teach me? Can you consult me on it?" So that consultation aspect, which sort of turned more into a property management side because I was able to help them or consult them, but also manage the properties for them. That division of my business grew significantly. So I was doing running my own Airbnbs and then managing for other individuals, business owners as well. I ran local meetups about short-term rentals, midterm rentals as well. Like, it's funny with real estate, it's like you start one thing and then all of a sudden you get into conversations and new strategies start evolving, right? And it's like, ooh, Mike, I'm very curious. So if you start talking about something, I'm going to start asking you lots and lots of questions. Like, well, how'd you do that? Like, do you find that difficult? What's your experience with that? Like, how can I get involved in that? So naturally, being that kind of person, like, my real estate business grew from Airbnb to project to property management to then buying the properties and then learning how to rehab them. And I'm here thinking I need all the money, but I can outsource the money other ways. So all that to say, I've dabbled into many avenues of real estate. I got my license as well, to save on some commissions on my purchases mainly.
Mhm.
And then I have friends that are looking to or have bought investment properties with me. But I don't do that like full time.
Right.
My full time job actually is a project manager for a luxury construction company in
Mm.
Orlando, Florida. So I also have the experience from the, I guess you from a investor standpoint, it'd be like the rehab aspect of it. So I know what goes into estimating, budgeting, pricing, working with GCs because my right hand man or woman, I work for a female GC. Um, I know how to navigate all that stuff because I'm in it all day, every day. So yeah, I got a full bag of things.
Yeah, you have a lot of experiences and stuff. And it's true because I'm already kind of we kind of were talking offline a little bit of the current strategy I'm doing and what I'm would like to get into, which is a little bit try my hand at rehabbing a few properties with the idea of keeping them as rental properties for myself long term. It is easy to go all over because everything sounds so exciting and everything, and especially once you get started. I want to get into because you mentioned saying that we learned the hard way of figuring out who you need on your team because you just expect like, okay, how hard can it be? I just go out there, look for a property, and yeah, you think, okay, realtor, you need one to obviously buy the property. So, want to get into who do you need on your team?
Assuming we're talking, the end goal being purchasing an investment property to rent it out long term, right? So number of people you need on your team. First would be a real estate agent. Now, there's thousands and thousands of real estate agents. So can you just pick one? Should you just pick one and that's local to you or local to the market that you're investing in? The answer is absolutely not. Um, what you need to look for is an investor friendly real estate agent, meaning an agent who works exclusively with investors because they're going to know the mindset that's coming to them or they're going to know what we're looking for. We're not looking for a property owner occupied where we're just going to move into it and like this is going to be my forever home or whatever. No, we are looking at the bottom line. We are looking at the numbers. So we need an agent that can kind of skip through that stuff and get right down to it. Right? Like a
Mhm.
good investor friendly agent is someone who presents you deals that are in your buy box and only in your buy box and deals that cash flow. Like they should be able to know how to run the numbers just as well, if not better as you, better than you, and then present it to you. That's a solid agent. So that's number one. You want a great investor friendly agent in your back pocket. The second person you need or company that you need is a lender, right? You definitely need a lender to get involved unless you're buying cash. Um, and disclaimer, a lot of as I build out this list, a lot of things are going to be kind of connected in that an agent knows a good inspector, a lender knows a good homeowner's insurance agent, right? So the higher quality individuals or companies that you hire, the better connected that they're going to be, right? So that's also why I like to look for people that are very specific to what I'm looking for. So you have your agent, you have your lender. Lender is going to connect you to a homeowners and insurance agent because you need coverage on there. And then number three, I would say would be your property management team. Right. If I'm investing out of state, I need somebody to be the eyes and ears of my assets. Right. So this property management team is the one who puts tenants in there. They are vetting the people that were going to live in my house. They are making sure everything runs smoothly for me. Um, and you can be as involved or as hands off as you want with your property manager as well, which is really cool. And your property manager also a good one is well connected with contractors and handymen because they're constantly servicing these properties, right? Things break. So it's
Mhm.
they're the first point of contact. They're the ones that get the alert from the tenant saying, "Hey, my refrigerator doesn't work anymore." So they have a whole list of people. So kind of circling back to the kind of theme of today is like building your team out. If you go into this thinking that you're a one woman team, right? Or that's how you kind of want to proceed with it. Well, you're doing yourself a disservice because if you're thinking about growth, the focus of growth or the whole point of growth is to bring people on as part of your team who know more than you in these areas. Imagine all the time and studying that it's going to take for you to get your mortgage license, your real estate license, start a property management team, do all the things just so you can build your empire. Like, let your ego step to the side for a second because you're going to move a lot quicker through life if you're able to leverage your team and trust in the team and build the team that way. So, those three definitely, right? Your property management, your investor friendly agent, and your lender is going to be kind of the core to get started. And then the kind of hidden fourth, or not hidden, but the I'd say the heartbeat of it all is a community. Like your community is, at least for me, is part of my team. Because when things go wrong, like I wanna know, or not wrong, but even when they go right, or you're thinking about next steps, like, you wanna be able to consult with people, right? So, like, you ask the questions, "How do I scale from 1 to 2 properties when I have this specific situation?" So, having that community to ask those questions to, that's certainly a very important aspect of your team, and that community could be, anything from a free Facebook community to an invested community of real estate investors.
Yeah, that's so important that you bring it up. I know that you were talking about earlier that you even route local meetups where you were trying to network with other people. And that's so important because, like, everybody knows anything from the beginning, right? If you're venturing in a new business, putting yourself next to people who have done the business or are in the business, you will get more data points. And then you will be able to make your own decision. You're drawing from other people's expertise. It might not directly impact your business, but now you have the data to collect from and then to make an informed decision.
You mentioned like when you find that first team member, which is usually the realtor in most cases. Yes, I learned the hard way about the realtor. I did not get an investment one. I got like a regular one. So the my second and my third home, which also is my mistake too, because I wasn't in the real estate investor mindset yet. So but if I would have gotten a realtor investor, maybe they would have guided me like, "Hey, remember this isn't your permanent home, so think of it as an investment." So a few hard lessons learned there, but I want to get into, well, how do I know if they're a good, one? What are some tips for someone when they are like talking to these people, questions that they should be asking or like how can they vet these people?
So, okay, we could start with the real estate agent. So, from an agent standpoint, um, one of my first questions would be, do you work exclusively with investors? And that is the most important question to ask. And if the answer is yes, then you move on to the next one. Okay, great. The investors that you work with, do a lot of them live out of state? And if they that's not a deal breaker question. Many live locally, or can drive to the property or whatever. But if the answer is also yes to that, I'm liking it because this person is getting more and more aligned with me. I'm in Florida. I'm trying to invest in Wisconsin. Like, okay, great. Like I'm out of state. I'm checking all the boxes, right? And then next question would be, um, I mean, this might be a little unorthodox of an approach, and I'm aware it's a lot more time consuming and whatnot. But I'm thinking about my agent in Wisconsin, in Milwaukee. I flew out and I met with him. I sat with him. Him and I took him out for a drink, or actually, I meant to take him out for a drink, and he like wined and dined me. And to me, that said a lot, because to me that said, wow, like this investor flew out to me. This investor's putting their time and energy and investing like in my business. And so like I'm going to reciprocate. I'm going to make sure that they stay informed, that they're taken care of. And it gave me an idea of like what this individual values, right? How this individual takes care of their clients, right? Because I'm his client, right? So um I met them in person, and we talk business, but we also just talk life. I just like someone who's aligned with my beliefs. And
Mhm.
from an investment standpoint, we got into talking about just taking care of tenants and taking care of people. And I mean, it sounds almost so basic, but a lot of times in an investments world, when so much is about numbers and black and white, at least my investment strategy, I'm very much like I want to shake your hand in person. I want to feel this experience. Like that to me is experiencing it all, especially all the individuals that I'm working with. So if I'm hearing my agent talk about how, they want to make sure that, you know, one, I'm getting you as the investor a solid property, but two, like we'll find you people that's going to take care of the property, and also good quality people, and people that we can meet, maybe even set up a meet and greet with, and stuff like that. And I think that's going above and beyond. And that was important to me, and he did just that without me asking. This was just what
Mhm.
he did on his own accord. So that was cool. But getting back to the questions, out of state investment, or do you work exclusively with investors? Do you work with out of state investors? Kind of getting an idea of their personality, kind of, what their values are from a business perspective. And also like how busy are they, right? Like you want a agent who's going to be to answer you when you call them, truly. Like you want them to be available to you. You don't want them to be, over, because I've been in those situations before where I've had an agent that like kind of handed me off to his partner because he was too busy. And hey, that's great.
Mhm.
Like I appreciate that up front, as opposed to like saying, "Oh yeah, I'll take on all this business," but then takes a week to get back to you. So I know a lot of this is not so quantitative and more qualitative, and like how you take care of people and how you respond. And but to me that's important, and those are the things I look for in a quality agent. Um as far as the lender goes, I was lucky enough to, with the community that I joined, the online community that I joined, I was presented with a list of 8 of lenders that service the community directly, and service investors that are seeking DSCR loans specifically. Right, and a lot, especially in this real estate climate, the SCR loans are very, very popular. So if they do a lot of those transactions and they work with many investors, that's a good sign, because that you want to be in line with the lender as far as that stuff goes. And the same thing, you want to get on the phone with them, make sure they have the availability for you, and a good lender will break things down for you, especially if you're a new investor. They will make the time to make the connection, because they know if they close one deal with you and they do it well, and the relationship will only flourish from there, and you will be more likely to stick with them with each acquisition. So that's that. And then the property management, I feel like I have a PDF with like 150 questions to ask property management, although I wouldn't ask all 150 up front. But that one is more like quantitative, and like, what's your portfolio size right now? What zip codes do you operate in? What team do you have in place, or what system do you have in place in the event that a tenant uh says my refrigerator stopped working? How
Mhm.
involved am I in this property management process? What's your fee? Though that's more boom, 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 like more quantitative, like straightforward, black and white questions.
Yeah. And then you pointed out so many good points there. It requires team building and maintaining skills, right? I think the tips that you're sharing to keep a good relationship with your lender, keep a good relationship with your realtor. Like you like to go and meet them in person, especially if you're investing out of state, which is not typical. But it's also like you want to build that relationship from the beginning. Like you want to cement that foundation and then have it very like already that you are going to continue to work with these people if they are, good team members for your business.
Yeah.
Did you have any bad experiences, and how did you handle those experiences?
No, it was perfect. No bad experiences in real estate investing ever. It's super clean cut. Yes, of course. So a lot of the tips that I share now is because I was the victim in the past. Like I made the mistakes. I made plenty of the mistakes, and I hired the wrong people. I mean, I have had money stolen from me on renovations. Like it's terrible. But because I've made the mistakes and now I can share them with you all, I could do it with hopefully that, I make the mistakes. I'm making enough mistakes so you don't have to repeat those same mistakes. I mean, I'm sure you'll make your own mistakes, but you know, that's just life. But I mean, People always love hearing about how someone stole money from me. So this was a fix and flip property here in Central Florida. During the renovation, I sourced out a handyman, I guess I could call him, that told me he can do anything and everything in the house. Which number one, red flag. But to his credit, he was decent. Like he could put up a fence. He did some electrical work. He did some plumbing. He did like drywall. I mean, he did pretty much everything. Um, did he do it right by code? Probably not. A lot of it wasn't because the next person I had to redo a lot of his work. But this person, this original person that I'm talking about, the Mr. Do It All, I found him on Facebook Marketplace. I put up a post saying, "Hey, I'm looking for." I asked for what one specific thing at first, but when he came into the property and saw all that needed to be done, more times than not, they're like, "Oh, I could do this, I could do that," right? So, um, I went out on a limb. I hired him, and he did the work. He started about like 50% of the work, and I fronted him about 50% of the money. And one day, he did a good amount, and then it was time to pay another portion. And so I fronted him some more money, and then he was gone. Never came back. Never came back. Now, all of this is my fault. I know that now. In the moment, I was, yeah, you didn't want to talk to me then. But I should have known better not to hire one person for all the things. I should
Mhm.
have known better to get referrals from this person's work, right? I should have asked for their portfolio or, hey, like, can you show me some of the work that you've done? Or I should have vetted this person better.
Mhm.
And when I went to message him, call him, look him up on Facebook again, the profile didn't exist. So I think that to me means he blocked me. So I there was zero way of contacting this individual. And of course, on the invoices that he sent, there was no other way of like getting in contact with him.
Mhm.
Another thing that I learned in that moment is, if possible, at least my strategy, not to pay contractors or subcontractors in cash, because I want to be able to pay them with my credit card, because in the event that something like this happens, I can call my credit card company and I have that protection.
Mhm.
I have that protection where they can reverse that payment back to me,
Mhm.
and I wouldn't have to be out thousands of dollars. So a lot of things that I learned through trial and error, but that's certainly one big mistake that I made. And then also think about the time, right? The time that I lost on this fix and flip. And if for anybody watching it knows what I mean, how important time is when it comes to fix and flips, it's all about like how quickly can you get this property off your hands, because every single month that goes by is the holding costs, another set of holding costs, another set of holding costs. So yeah. Yeah, it was kind of crappy.
The systems and processes that we're talking about, like the vetting of the people that you want to start a relationship with so you can make money. You're going to have a learning curve regardless, but we want to soften the blow because not everybody knows everything from the get go. And then you being around a community or being around other people that are doing the same thing will provide you with some information already how do you manage, right? Like a fix and flip, like you said, you have a time, a schedule, you need to get this deal done. And sometimes like because we have all of this pressure on, we might like cut some corners, but at the end of the day, like no, those corners are there for a reason, right? You should be able to uh get to the job done and not compromise your boundaries, which are in the long term may affect your business.
Absolutely. And when you're on the crunch on the time crunch like that, you start or I started operating out of desperation too, which is a very very dangerous place to operate from to begin with in any form time in life, right? Like you just want things done quickly. And so if this person says that they can be there in an hour and they can do it right now, and not only can they do this, but they can do this and that and that and that, that's like music to my ears at that time.
Mm.
So you also like checking yourself and like internally doing like even if it's like a 2 minute reflective moment of like, okay, like when things kind of settle down, not when you're in the midst of, hammers and screws or drills going off, like kind of like sit down and check yourself and reflect on the process and like, okay, is everything aligned here with the end goal? Like, where am I operating from? Am I aligned from a budget standpoint, from emotionally, mentally? I mean, I know this kind of derails us a little bit, but I just want to make this one note because it is sort of frustrating to hear when people say that real estate, if you put your emotions into real estate, like you're essentially screwed, that it's all about the numbers. And I want to be maybe I want to be the devil's advocate because
Mhm.
like we are human beings are emotional beings. Like we're not robots. So emotion is going to play. It's not saying let the emotions run you, but like learn how to play the game with the emotions in the room. And that's why was saying like to kind of check yourself because yeah, we're going to have feelings all day long about a very important situation or project on our hands, but let's understand where these emotions are coming from and then always then choose the logical decision from there. Not like, oh, let's erase this emotionally. The second you get your emotions involved, you're screwed. It's like,
Mhm.
no, it's not practical.
Trying to remove the human factor when you are dealing your tenants are people, and especially now, not to get sidetracked, but with the current news right now where people are not getting like SNAP benefits and Section 8, those are people that you're dealing with, and it's going to affect your investment. Like I have two Section 8 tenants, and that's something that I have to think about, and not be like a jerk and just kick them out, because I have some like savings, and I know Section 8 will pay me eventually. So I just feel that emotion, like I feel like for my tenants that they have to go through that. And if I was just to be like so cold and just look at the numbers and be like, well, bye, get them out and put the next tenant in.
Even if you're investing out of state and you've never seen your properties or anything like that, you are housing people
Mhm.
the end of the day. Let's not forget that. Let's not forget that, please, because then it just becomes something. eh, Yeah, it's just a cold, like you were saying. It's just
Mhm.
it's a cold situation, and it's just not. I don't know. That's just not me.
Yeah. It's not the kind of business you want to run for sure.
But yeah, you close on a property out of state. And I kind of want to, since we talked about your real estate dream team, I want to show how you applied that to get this investment property out of state.
So, so it all starts with the community, or started with the community for me. And in this community, we get there's so many resources, but just to keep it short, it's all the team members that we're talking about on here, plus more. So, as a member of this community, I was able to select from one of the community approved lenders
Mhm.
that have been vetted, that have been personally used by him and others. And so, I've built these relationships over the years. And so, with what I did was, I don't remember who I went with first, but I got the lender, I got my agent. All right, I built those relationships with them first before I had any deal on the table or anything like that. And then with the lender, I would say like as far as paperwork standpoint goes for everybody else, the lender's step one because you want what's called a pre-approval letter in your hand to then give to the agent so that the agent knows, okay, this person's like serious and here's how much they can afford of a house that they can afford. Now let's go and find that house. So
Mhm.
step one, get a pre-approval letter from your lender. Your lender is going to tell you what they need from you in order to receive that letter in your hand. Now that's, how much money you have liquid, right? So whether it's your savings account, checking account, IRA, any wealth accounts, stocks, whatever, any money that can be easily liquidated, right? Pulled out within a number of days and put in your hand. So based
Mhm.
off of all the money that you have, they generate a pre-approval amount, right? So they send you that letter, and then that letter you send over to your agent. Now, the agent is the person that's going to be based off of your conversations of here's my buy box meaning uh, your prerequisites, right? So what it is that you're looking for. I'm looking for a duplex with a minimum of 2 bedrooms on each side in this location, um, so on and so forth, right? So the agent's job is to go out and fetch you those listings, whether that's on market or off market. So with that, my agent gave me a list of properties. I ran my numbers. I have a little spreadsheet where I plug the numbers in. I mean, it's mindless at this point. I've like fine tuned it so well. I used to do the pen and paper route, like
Mhm.
what's my NOI, but no, everything now is on my spreadsheet. So yeah, so with this property specifically, he presented it to me. I ran the numbers. I said, "Hey, this looks great. Let's put in an offer." So I put in the offer. It was listed for 129,000. This was a duplex. It was on the
Mhm.
market for like 2 weeks or so, and they had a conversation. That by they is the listing agent and my agent had a conversation, and my agent came back to me and said, "Hey Sam, someone actually a buyer just fell through on this property, and the agent's telling me at 119 you'll have it like in your hands, like they'll just accept it right away."
Mhm.
And I'm thinking, okay, I did my math at 129 and I'm in a good spot cash flow wise. So if they're saying 119, okay. So I didn't want to throw in anything else because I knew come inspection time there might be some additional things. So I didn't want to ask for too
Mhm.
much too soon. So I said, Great, let's go for 119." Accepted the offer, and then the inspection period began. Did my inspection report with the inspector that I grabbed from another team member that I grabbed from my community. Um, that Actually, my agent referred me the inspector because as a good agent, they have a good network, right? So got the inspection. There were a couple things on there that minor things that like gave me a little bit of pause. But I'm trying to think if there was anything major. It was truly a unicorn because I didn't even fight anything on the inspection. I was like, wow, this is surprisingly clean, and so I just kept going with it. I said, all right, let's keep it rolling. So during this whole time, the lenders in the background setting paperwork up, they're ordering an appraisal, right? They're in charge of the appraisal stuff, so I had nothing to do with it. So they had another individual go out to appraise the property. When I received the appraisal report about, I don't know, at this point maybe a week after the inspection period was over, it came back with an appraisal of 130,000. And I was like, "Oh, this is too good. I love it. I love it." And I'm here as an agent myself. I'm thinking, "Oh, right on the money. Nice job listing it." They listed it like right at what it should have been because it always a sidetrack, but it just annoys me when they like try to list for so much higher and just try to fish for people. But I'm like, "Nice job, listed it right on time." But um, so all that to say, I knew right off the bat I was getting what's that, $11,000 in equity on day one. I was like, "Ooh, amazing." So I ended up moving forward with the DSCR loan with this lender. I put 20% down. Um, so I don't know the math off the top of my head, but as equity wise, I had the 11,000 from the spread of the appraisal, and then I don't know what that is, like 20 some 25,000. So like let's say $35,000 in equity
Mhm.
on day one. And yeah, we closed on the property. Now, because I live in Florida, property's in Milwaukee, I had a mobile notary come to my house and sign the paperwork. And then that's it. Everything was mailed overnight and I had my property. The property manager came in as soon as, so I reached out to her while I was in that 30-day closing period, I said, "Hey, just letting you know, well, the closing date is set for this date." She's like, "Awesome, keeping my fingers crossed for you. Let me know as soon as it closes. I'll send you the property management agreement in the meantime." And at this point, I had already vetted her, right? Well, number one, she came from the community. So I know she was good, or her company was good. Number two, I asked a series of questions that were important to me, and yeah, so that was already handled. So I signed the agreement, and then as soon as the property closed, I say, "Hey, we're all good to go." And then I set up a onboarding meeting with her shortly after, and then ever since it's been quiet. It's actually weird, right? Because as you two know, it's sort of like I come from the other side where I'm very hands-on between my day job, between all my other investments, whether it's a fix and flip, buy and hold, Airbnbs, I'm involved, whether it's physically or whether it's like communication with tenants or guests, right? And so now it's sort of like all this build up. I climbed the top of the mountain and with this property, and then now it's like, okay. It's boring, yeah, so it's sort of like, "Huh." Now I'm like restless. I'm like, "What do I do? What do I do?" But I guess the boring is good, right? Like, well, the quiet is good. Like, no news is good
Mhm.
news in this situation, right? Because if something were to go wrong, I do get an email. Whether it's something's broken or whatever, I do get the email. But property management handles it, and I created an agreement with them of, essentially, it didn't wasn't as like straightforward as this, but essentially, here's the threshold of,
Mhm.
don't bother me unless something's above $300.
Mhm. Yep.
And they tell you, they ask you, okay, what do you want to be like, really hands on? Do you want to know about everything, or do you want me to just call you if, God forbid, the house is burning down? And I'm
Mhm.
like, no, no, no. I definitely want to be involved a little bit more than that.
I mean, you've been on the active side of investing and the passive side of investing, and you had your hands in Airbnb, property manager, co-hosting type of avenues, fix and flip, and now you're doing out-of-state passive income. What is your goal with real estate investment now that you kind of had your hand in every single section of it?
Well, my goal is to build wealth right now. So, I'm thinking, all right, I'm 34 years old. I want a nest egg. Like, I want, I have an investment account, I have a retirement account, but I want something where I can like retire on. Um, and I want real estate to be that thing. With all my past endeavors with real estate, it's been very uh cash heavy, right? It's like it's a fix and flip, you're getting a nice big check, and then that's it, it's done, right? I'm not building wealth, or I hadn't built wealth. I just built cash. But as you know, anytime you have cash in a savings account, like every single day that it just sits there, you're losing money, which is like so mind blowing to me. So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna start moving like the wealthy do, and I'm going to start taking my notes. And yeah, so the short answer is, I would like to buy and hold as much as I can, as strategically as I can, personally, I can only think about like thinking 5 years out is even a lot for me. But I think realistically, if I am able to somehow purchase one property per year for the next 5 years, I think that's going to be a challenging goal, but also a doable goal for me. And yeah, so that's sort of my goal. One property per year for the next 5 years, and then at the 5 year mark, reevaluate, see where we are wealth wise, and then take it from there. Because I have a feeling that, just knowing the way the real estate math works, after that 5 year mark, I'll be able to pull money out of all these properties, rinse and repeat over and over again, and really never have to touch my own personal money again. Right. But fingers crossed, that's in a perfect world. Right. So that's sort of the goal. I need to build wealth.
The longer you stay in the business, the more levers you have to pull from
Mm.
as well if you continue keep going.
The first few years are going to be the hardest, right? Because it's like, where am I going to source these funds from? So whether it be partnerships or whether it be private money lending, which I'm getting into now. So one of those fix and flips that here, my local ones here, a few years back, I used a private money lending for that, and it was
Mhm.
such a successful project that this individual has been kind of knocking on my door ever since, like, hey, come on. They're like asking, like, can I please give you money, can I please, and it's such a beautiful place to be in. So before jumping to take their money, I wanted to make sure that, I let a few months pass with this out of state project, and then maybe take them up on it moving forward. It's just, I have to think through how I'm going to present it, how the creative financing is going to work. It's tough, because prices are sort of a little stagnant right now, and if appreciation was crazy high, I'd be like, yeah, let's just give me 25 grand and I'll give it back to you in 36 months, as soon as I refi. But maybe, I don't know. I'm not sure where I land with that, but that's my homework,
Mhm.
to bridge the gap between where I am now and that 5-year goal.
How can someone work with you, or how do you help others? How do you help them, and where can they reach you?
Yeah. So, m- I was going to say 99.9%, but it's actually 100% of the work that I do with individuals is virtual. If you're in the country, out of the country, we can definitely connect. We could see if it's a good fit, right? Because as the viewers have seen by now, like I have experience in many different areas, but by no means would I say I'm an expert in one thing or another. I'm still constantly learning every day. But yeah, with that being said, if even if it's a conversation, I invite people to just check out my Instagram and send me a DM if they want to connect. My Instagram handle is invest underscore with underscore Sammie, Sammie.
Nice, and I'll have all that in the description.
Well, thank you so much for being our first guest on our podcast. It was really informative, and I hope that will inspire everybody to check out more videos after this, but also inspire Latino women to come in here and be represented because we are here, we're investing, and we're learning every day.
Absolutely. Ladies, thank you so much for having me. I feel honored to be the first guest, and I hope this is not the last time.
Again, her information will be down in the description. Don't forget to follow the podcast, subscribe on YouTube, and we will see everyone in the next episode. Bye.